Hi, Chris here with a large 4K 120Hz display here. It's called the Vision S from Huawei. There are two models, two sizes that is, so 55 inches and this one is the big boy, 65 inches. So you can see it is big. Now this particular smart screen here has a lot of built-in smart features. So we have AI support, Huawei Share, which makes it very easy to cast your mobile screen over onto this one right here, and then MeTime support with a 1080p camera you can see right here at the top that connects up magnetically, and it does actually offer good image quality, and I'll be covering that in this reviewer sample of it. Along with, of course, the panel, what kind of quality can you expect out of the Vision S here, the 65-inch model, the UI, a bit of gaming, and also I will give you a sample of just what the Huawei sound speakers sound like.
Moving over to our build quality, so we have a stainless steel frame around this one and very, very slim bezels. So I do like the look of it. The feet on the bottom, they are solid, made out of metal, and just giving it a tiny bit of a shake here, it doesn't seem to wobble around, so it does feel quite secure. And down the bottom here, we have 6 microphones. This is part of the AI system it has, and it can hear you from the other side of the room. And I'll give you a sample of the AI features later on in this video. Up the top, there is a 1080p removable webcam that I talked about before, and it's very easy just to pull this off, store it away, and only connect it up when needed if you are concerned about privacy, that is. So the materials used are metal and plastic. Metal at the top, plastic down below here, VESA mounting points here, which is a standard size, and our inputs right here. So there's a USB 2 port, 3 HDMIs, one supports ARC, LAN, and AV inputs.
So the screen tech in this one, it's LED, and we do have a maximum brightness they claim of 350 nits. Now I am measuring with this particular model here, with my panel, this will probably vary from panel to panel, 370. Now it is HDR10, it does support HDR10. I've noticed that with my PlayStation 5 will detect it as an HDR compatible TV there. And let's have a look at some of the colors here. Now these are sample images that are oversaturated, quite punchy, but they do give us a good idea of what to expect with this screen. I'm trying to capture it as realistically as possible to represent that what you would really see with this one. So the images look good. Punchy colors, yes. Blacks are not deep, they're not OLED level, and we cannot expect that, of course. This is an LED screen, it's not OLED, and it does have the 120 Hz, of course, with this one. So 4K resolution, 120 Hz. It is smooth, and some of these images do look really good. And of course, they do have boosted up colors, saturation as well, being sample images. They look excellent. Now, what I have noticed is at the corners, the very corners of the screen, there is a slight dimming of the pixels. So in the very edges of the corners, you will pick this up, that they're slightly dimmer. And I have noticed too that, of course, this is not a fully laminated screen. Now, a lot of the larger TVs or the larger screens, especially when I looked at a lot of TVs in the shop, they are like this, okay? So not a fully laminated panel. You get a gap of around 3 millimeters, and it does have an anti-glare coating with this one. So let's have a look at the UI here. So it is running Harmony UI with this. We've got App Gallery, and there are various different applications you are able to install with this one. Now, if you go through and have a look at this, the first thing I did was, okay, on a TV like this, or should I say a screen like this, I really want to be running something like Netflix, okay? And you can go in here, of course, and search just using the remote. It's very easy to do. So if you're familiar with Android TV, it's kind of a similar setup. So bringing this up, I can see clearly that, okay, so we don't have app support. We are lacking things like Netflix, Amazon Prime Video at the time of this video. So this, I do hope, will be changing. Now, there is a fix for this. Let us get one of these. This is an Android TV box. It's Android TV 10 that it runs from Dynalink this. It's 4K HDR that it does support, and it can actually be powered off the screen itself. Micro USB cables will connect it up, a short HDMI cable in, and I get that 4K HDR, Amazon Prime Video, Netflix, Disney Plus goodness. And it's a cheap and easy solution too with a Bluetooth remote. So hidden away, it's just sitting there by itself. I don't even need to use Velcro or anything to keep it there in place. You could also use something like the Amazon Fire Stick 2. The 4K one would be perfect for a screen like this. Had this built-in gallery here that I showed you before with those sample images. Tips settings. So there are various different settings that we can go through and tweak there to do with while connecting up your Huawei ID, of course. You do need this if you're going to be using MeTime, that is. We've got our sound options there. So I normally just keep this on auto, the sound mode, and it will select for me the best scenario. You see this with other screens as well. We've got standard, movie, sport, music, news, just tweaks up more the mids and trebles. Game gives us a little bit more bass and treble there. But I'll keep that on to auto, and then output the Vision speakers. And if you had something else plugged in, then you could also set that up to be outputting through that. So there's no optical out here, sadly, with this one either, this particular screen. Connections, self-explanatory. Huawei's Assistant, which I will get onto shortly. Our screensaver, general, so that's just other device settings like your languages and whatnot. System, I'm at the time of this video, this review here, I am of course on the latest updates, which will be coming through. So they update the software, HMS Core, so it does get its updates, and eventually I want to see definitely a lot more app support with this particular screen, having such a nice large screen there. Music, video, quite straightforward there. Our input source, you can select and change that over there too as well. And it does come with an AI feature too. So we've got those 6 microphones that I showed you at the front of it. There's also a mic on the remote. Now you can trigger it by saying, "Hi Celia, please set the volume to 30%.
The volume is now set at 30%.
So you can see that worked fine. Now using the remote, I can press the button, so I don't even need to say the trigger phrase there of "Hi Celia." Turn off the screen. That worked fine. And what I'll do now is I'll use the remote. Turn the screen on. And our screen here has come back on, as you can see. So you can use it for all sorts of different commands. You can even ask it things. Now with my New Zealand accent, I have noticed that a couple of times it hasn't understood me and I have had to repeat myself. What's the weather for today?
I'm currently unable to access your location. Please specify a city first.
Okay, so I need to specify the city for that one, but in general it's there and it tends to work well for your basic commands without having to use the remote. And here's a sample of using MeTime here. So I'm talking to my 2 young girls here on the P40 Pro, and then they're using the Vision S smart screen. Hello girls. Hello. Hello. And I can hear them just fine, no problems, because it's got the 6 microphones there. 1080p quality, I do find it is excellent, and you get your typical video delay here of just a few milliseconds, dependent really on your internet connection. So both the P40 Pro and the Vision S have a good connection here. I'm not seeing any issues with latency and delays. Now for console gaming on the screen, super immersive as you'd imagine at 65 inches. It is great. Really do love it. But of course it's HDMI 2.0, so we can't take advantage of games such as this one. Dirt 5 does support 120 frames per second, but we're stuck to 60 Hz cap here with this one, of course being an HDMI 2 screen. That's one thing to bear in mind, that if you bought this intending to play games at 120 Hz 4K, you are going to be disappointed because it's lacking the HDMI 2.1 support there. But the input lag, response times from the screen, I'm not having any issues with it at all. I think it is fine, perfectly acceptable for 4K, 60 frames per second gaming. This screen is really immersive, and I do enjoy using it for titles such as this one. So normally smart screens or TVs have poor speakers. They're not amazing. They're not too bad here on the Vision S. Now there's plenty of volume. I'll only probably run it at about 50% volume because it's really a little bit too powerful once I get over about 70%. And it does have a bit of bass to it and treble. So there's 4 speakers in total. 2 of them either side handle the lows and the mids, and then we have some tweeters on it. So I think they've covered it quite well. Another handy feature with this particular smart screen is the remote here does have NFC built into it, which is just in this part right here. So once I place, for example, the P40 Pro here that I have, it will make a confirmation beep so that it has paired up, and then it will cast onto the screen. You can see that is very, very quick here. What has impressed me is the latency of this. So you can see there's the photo of me right now, and look at the background, how fast this is. It's almost at the same time there. That casting speed is excellent. So this is ideal for games too as well. So that's a photo of my cat Vera. Of course I can zoom into that and take a look at her there, all the details, and not a problem. So you can use other devices of course to cast onto the screen. It's just with the Huawei Share here and the NFC that's built into the remote. It is a lot quicker at establishing that connection, is very fast as you just saw before. And then again, this latency looks really good. So it's going to be selling in Europe for 999 euros, so 1,000 euros. That's quite an ask, I think. Now, if you have a look at what is out there from competing large screen models, manufacturers that is, that we've got, of course, Panasonic, Sony, LG, and the list goes on, Samsung, there's a lot on offer there, and most of those models, in fact, all of them will have digital tuner. So this does not have a digital tuner. It's more focused on being a smart screen, of course, but you have the native Netflix support out of the box, Amazon Prime Video, Disney Plus, that this sadly lacks with Harmony OS at the time of me recording this video. Now that could change in the future. It's not hard to fix though. For a cheap fix, as I showed you, you can install on this or connect up to it an Android TV box or say a Fire Stick there from Amazon, and away you go. You then have Widevine Level 1 support. You've got 4K Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, Disney Plus, and not too much of an issue there. The digital tuner, well, that's something I actually never really use on my own TV, so it wouldn't bother me too much. Now, panel quality at that price point, we're looking at HDR10 support, maximum brightness of around 370 nits. Other models can do better. They certainly have better screens than this one. I would rate this screen to be average, really. And it does have this slightly dimmer pixels right on the corners there. It's ever so slight and you don't really notice it too much. Now, when gaming on the screen and looking at other content, it is great though. It's a good looking screen. In that regard, I don't really have too much of a problem with it there. And the other thing too is 120 Hertz support for the UI. For video, it can upscale, well, it can up the frame rate to make the video look smoother for say sports, movies, things like that. You do notice it, and that's great. It's just missing that HDMI 2.1 support for me is just, oh, they could have almost had it with this. Now the speakers on it, not bad at all. Of course, we've got Huawei Share, so if you're going to be using this for casting, say from your mobile phone to the screen, is very good. And it has one of the best latencies I have seen casting. It's very, very good. So it is actually going to be okay for gaming. If you game on your mobile and you cast it onto a screen like this, it is going to be good for that there. And you've got the other connectivity. Now the AI feature is useful. If you don't want to use the remote there, you can simply issue that command and you can tell it to turn the screen off, adjust the volume, do various other different things. So there's one thing that's handy there. So there we go. That is the full story, the full pros and cons, and my experience of using Huawei's Vision S. This is, of course, the 65-inch, the largest model. Thank you so much for watching.